Hello, on this edition of Spotlight on Seniors, we'll talk to the World Medical Relief Organization and later Chief Elvin Barren of the Southfield Police Department.
Good morning, Richard. You are at World Medical Relief, which is a nonprofit that was born in Detroit but is now located in Southfield. You are actually at the world headquarters of this nonprofit.
Wow, and what do you do here primarily?
World Medical Relief was started in 1953 by a woman named Eldrin because she wanted to send supplies to an orphan in Korea. Real soon, the mission became a medical mission where she would send medical supplies and medicine all over the world to missionaries. And that's really what we do still today. We ship 40-foot containers to countries that are hit hard by poverty, by war, natural disaster. And in those containers you find a treasure trove of medical supplies, medical equipment and instruments. But that's the international program.
Okay.
So locally, we also serve thousands of people. We have had a local program since 1966. We have an affordable prescription program that started out as a prescription program for low-income seniors. Now it is open to anyone with a low income, age 18 and older. It's a marvelous program. A lot of people are underinsured. They have insurance, but the insurance just doesn't pay very well for the prescriptions. So we encourage people to come to us to see whether we can help. You only pay $8.30 per prescription per month. It's based on income. Mm-hmm. They will need to provide a proof of income or a letter of.
Okay.
And it's by prescription only, and it's mostly generic medications. However, people can donate their good dated, sealed prescription drugs to us, which is amazing. We're the only nonprofit in Michigan that's registered with the state. And through the donations of these not expired, sealed prescription drugs, we quite often have other medications as well that are brand name. So people have to just contact us and enroll, because there's also another resource that is really amazing. Through a grant of United Way, we also purchase insulin. So insulin is very expensive. There are a few cheaper versions, but then still, the lowest cost for insulin is $25 or $35, and it only is a certain type of insulin. Through us, people can obtain the more expensive insulin, but yet again, they need to enroll in our program, and they have to qualify based on their income. Mm-hmm. We have a coordinator who will help you also with further resources, actually explains people how to check their blood glucose level, how to manage their illness better. There have been several people that really had trouble measuring their own blood glucose, and she will help them with that, and to the point where they actually know how to do it and how to precisely administer the insulin. Diabetes patients are also asked to enroll in a 6-week educational program. It's very easy, it's intuitive, but it helps people to learn about their illness and how to better live with it. It's how to have a better quality of life. And this educational program is completely tailored to do that.
How do you work that out?
Well, that's where the coordinator comes in.
Okay.
And she's wonderful, and she will, face-to-face meetings are hard right now, but she will call our clients and have really good conversations and really get to know them and help them to kind of get to the better level of living with their illness and managing their illness and their health better.
So then once a person has contacted you, a person would be assigned to a particular coordinator or your coordinator who would then maintain conversation with them regarding their needs, their medications, any training or further exposure that they need to information, and work with them on an ongoing basis.
Until they completed their course, and also until they have a steady resource or a supply of resources, including the insulin. Correct.
And all of this is paid for how?
That's a very good question. We are very grateful to the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan Foundation. They funded this program for 2 years.
And at the end of that 2 years?
Well, we hope to actually attract more funding for this because we feel it's a unique opportunity for many people in the community who live with diabetes. And that we think that we can help many more, but we need to get more funding to do so. World Medical Relief is quite well connected with all kinds of agencies that we would like to bring in to meet with our patients and offer their resources. We don't want to reinvent the wheel, but I mean there's so many other resources out there that we could bring here.
How can we donate things in general?
So World Medical Relief is kind of a huge collection point of donated medical supplies, durable medical equipment, pacemakers. We can talk about that later. And we encourage the general public to call us if they have something to donate or go to our website. We accept a lot of items, plastic tubing, when people need be fed through tubing,
right.
All kinds of medical supplies, bandages, Curlix, bandage. I mean, there's a lot of different things. The website is probably the best place to go to look it up. And then people can also donate equipment. We were just talking about CPAP machines. They can be donated to us. We have a biomedical equipment laboratory here where they are looked at and made sure that they are working properly. We cannot use that locally. People cannot come to us here in Metro Detroit and say, I need a CPAP machine. Can you provide me with one? Because of liability reasons, we cannot do that. But we are saving a lot of lives overseas with that kind of equipment.
What is the website?
It's worldmedicrelief.org.
Okay.
Because you can see even what kind of medicine she can donate, what kind of supplies she can donate. And of course, if you want to support our agency, how you can support it, because we haven't talked about that yet. Right from the beginning, this agency was basically run with volunteers. Thousands and thousands of people came through these doors. And because especially the international program and all the sorting of all the supplies that are donated by individuals and by hospitals is all done by volunteers. We need thousands of hands. And during the pandemic, we limit the number of people that we can take. So people do need to contact us ahead of time and reserve a spot. Because of course we want to observe the distancing between people. So it's a big building, but we still only accept 20 people at one time. And so they can call and reserve a spot, or they can send a message, an email message, to volunteer@worldmedicrelief.org.
And that information is probably also on your website?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And on our Facebook page. We have a very active Facebook page. I would like people to like us and look at our posts, which are very interesting. Recently, we have been posting, for instance, about the countries that we serve. So it's a little bit of a geography lesson, and you get to know other places in the world, you know, because we are all over. Last year, I think we served 16 different countries. And I'm sure you remember, for instance, that disaster that happened in Lebanon, that big explosion.
Yes.
I think we were one of the first to send medical supplies and help. Yep.
So when you have the volunteers to work with you, are those volunteers chosen because of language skills or just available hands to do work? What's the criteria generally?
People come to us, and they, because they love our mission. Quite often people are aware of the fact that we keep a lot of really good things, medical supplies and stuff, out of the landfills, that they are really happy that stuff doesn't go to waste. And hey, a willingness to work, and you should be able to read the expiration date, because we cannot send anything that is expired, so that, you know, and then able to sort the items according to certain categories. And when you're new, there's always somebody to help you, and it takes a little learning, you know. You make friends. I would really like to see more Southfield seniors here, because it's a wonderful place, and you can come and bring your friends and just roll up your sleeve and feel really accomplished and happy that you can help other people.
We know somebody to put you in touch with then, who just might be able to do that very thing.
We are doing some things to keep everything and everybody safe. The warehouse is being fumigated frequently, and a lot of thought was put into that. But the biggest impact is on the volunteers, that we cannot accept as many volunteers as we would, normally speaking. But there are some other things that I would like to bring up, though, that beside our affordable prescription program, which is absolutely life-saving, we also have durable medical equipment. Because even if you're on Medicare and you need a walker, you still have a copay quite often, or it has to last a certain amount of time. And what if you lose your wheel and Medicare doesn't pay for another one, you know? I would encourage people to come to us and see whether we can help them. They pay a small handling fee. Same with over-the-bed table, hospital beds, shower chairs, you know, a lot of things that make life a little bit easier and safer, because we all know we have to absolutely try to prevent falling.
Yes.
And things like that. So durable medical equipment, we are a good resource for that. Give us a call, 313-866-5333. And then medical supplies, wound care supplies, and then also ostomy supplies or colostomy supplies, liquid nutrition, and you wouldn't believe it, but we also have a huge amount of diapers.
Really?
Yes, so adult diapers, briefs, bed pads, and of course we are depending on the donations that we get. But if you are in need of those rather expensive items, give us a call. We might have them. It's a kind of a miracle place here. You know, quite often people need something and there it is. You know, somebody else donates it. So I would say start always with us, see whether we have it, and you never know.
But really, we should look at your Facebook page. We can look at you online, worldmedicalrelief.org. We can call. Is there any other source of information about World Medical Relief?
Oh, yes. Actually, you can also call 211. I think that's a resource that people just don't use often enough.
We maybe don't know about it.
Yes, it's a toll-free number that was started by United Way, and that connects people with thousands of resources. So, of course, they can also refer people through 211 and My Bridges. People can reach us by phone easily between 9 and 4, Monday through Friday. If we're busy, if all lines are lighting up, then leave us a message and we'll call you right back.
Very good. Is there anything that really just gets you all fired up that we haven't talked about yet?
I just heard of a very particular need, and I'm like, Southfield has so many big companies, big corporations, and maybe they would find out that we need a very particular forklift for our warehouse. It's called a powered stacker. So it's one of those forklifts where you stand on the back. And the reason that we need this is because it is, it doesn't need a lot of space to maneuver around. We are a pretty big building, but still our warehouse is always super full. And it would help us so much if a company would step up and say, we will donate that to World Medical Leave.
And what's that piece of
A
equipment
powered stacker. It's like a forklift where you stand on the back.
Okay. We'll make certain that we get that word out and see what can happen. And I'd like to thank you very much, Josephine, for your input. It's been delightful, as usual. And we'll look forward to meeting you again and finding out what sort of progress we've made towards getting your forklift and getting your other supplies that you need and getting your volunteers. We're glad to do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard. It was a lot of fun talking with you.
We promised you Chief Elvin Barren of the Southfield Police Department, and here he is. Well, thank you, Chief, for allowing us your time in your offices today. We've got maybe a few things we'd like to talk about with you, and look forward to hearing what you've got to say, especially as it relates to seniors in the city of Southfield. One of the first things that comes to mind is, can you identify seniors accounting for roughly how many service calls?
Yeah, so seniors account for many of our medical runs where sometimes they're suffering from ailments and they need a professional services, whether it's from the police or whether it's from the local fire department. So we do respond very quickly, as our seniors are a huge part of this community. Another aspect our seniors bring to the police department is they pay attention what goes on in the communities. They're very quick to call for suspicious activity, individuals who may or may not belong to the neighborhood. So the relationship with our seniors is valuable and appreciated.
Are there any particular sorts of things that seniors call regarding issues, for instance, noise issues?
Certainly was a time that we all had to be patient with our children.
Yes.
Right now, in this COVID environment, we all know they've been without school. They use it as a means of connecting with one another and socializing with one another. So overall, the community was being patient, but we did have a few calls for minor disturbances.
Have there been any really specific causes of concern or cases where seniors have made calls that have turned into something else in the neighborhood?
So we've had calls where, for example, there may have been a suspicious person in the neighborhood. Southfield police officers were able to go and investigate. Sometimes we were able to resolve it by way of, it was an individual who just so happened to be looking for a neighbor's home, lost address. There's been situations where the person may have had a vehicle breakdown, and so the residents called because they weren't sure what was happening. And then there's been incidents of people doing things they shouldn't. These porch pirates.
Yes.
And right now, with the COVID restrictions applying, there's not a lot of people going and doing a lot of shopping. However, online shopping has been real big. So we have had calls relative to porch pirates. One example I can think of, Southfield police officers coordinated with those residents a photo by way of a ring door captured the type vehicle, and our officers were able to make a very quick location of that suspect and bring that person to justice.
Speaking of Ring doorbells, I recently read or heard someplace that Southfield was doing some things regarding Ring doorbells. Can you explain about what that is?
Yes, so the Southfield Police Department, we're going to continue to advance technology. What we've partnered with is our Ring doorbell company. We've begun early communications about how we can establish a relationship, because what we found that there's a lot of Southfield residents who have this technology. And what better way if we can partner with the Wing, and if there's an incident in the neighborhood, such as I described, for example, an individual who may choose to take packages. very quickly with the technology, that resident can share the video feed. It will come straight to the Southfield Police Department. We can bring it up, alert patrol officers, and then further our investigation. It's also beneficial if a resident who's not a owner of a Ring service, but their next door neighbor or neighbors down the street are, because it captures these criminals coming and going. And so it's a valuable service to the city if we establish this program, and we in the early stages, but we expect to have it all wrapped up by the spring. Ring technology is beneficial whether you have a area that's high traffic area or not, because these criminals, they're searching for opportunity. And so when you look at the technology and the relationship and the value in the technology, it's also a deterrent. And so yes, there are areas that are busier, some of our shopping areas or areas where there's a high volume of traffic, for example, our business districts or neighborhoods that are in close proximity of our business districts. Again, that traffic,
Right.
those major thoroughfares where criminals will go down major thoroughfares and then move into neighborhoods to seek out opportunity. And so I always say the technology is good whether you have a high area of concern or not.
Have we had very many calls regarding people not wearing masks or not wanting to wear masks in some of our shopping areas and some malls and whatnot?
Yes, we've had that occur in our city. Matter of fact, very recently it occurred at a local store where there were two customers. One was not wearing his mask, and they began to argue about that particular violation. And so as the story went, one pushed the other. Police officers did respond, were able to manage the situation. The governor, the Oakland County Health Department has made mandates requiring us to wear a mask. And so I encourage everyone, follow the mandates. It does save lives, it's been proven. It does assist in limiting the spread of the virus. So please wear your mask.
People are often driven to do their shopping when they can, where they can. I've myself, for instance, have found out that early in the morning is the best time for me to go, less traffic, etc. I wonder if that's true throughout the city.
Yeah, that's an excellent tip to share with our citizens, that I would recommend doing your shopping early. You figure you can take advantage of the daylight hours, which is useful. As you know, many times criminals use darkness as a mechanism to disguise their appearance. And then when you add in the fact that we're required to wear masks and darkness, these people who choose to perpetrate crimes will use those as opportunities to conceal their identity. So being in an environment where you're out in the daylight, visible to the community, and where there's less traffic or less people shopping, it does provide a easier transition, a safer, in my opinion.
The whole concept of shopping is really interesting to me. When they enter and exit their vehicle, they are very unsure, they appear to be unorganized, and they take a lot of time to do it, which makes them open to all kinds of mischief.
Right. Yeah, another good point. Certainly when you enter into a parking structure, again, opportunities are what these offenders seek. So very important that you pay attention to your surroundings at all times. Some examples I would share with the community is avoid parking near vans, large vans, trucks. Again, opportunities for concealment for a perpetrator to commit a crime. Try to park close to the entrance of the shopping area. And that way you can remember where your car is, be able to see the security or other customers in close proximity. Sometimes that's not always the case, but always pay attention before you exit your vehicle. Look around, take those few seconds to look around and see if there's anything unusual.
Chief, there's been some stuff in the news lately about Southfield and incidents that have happened here, and you guys have probably been involved. Can you share anything about those?
Yeah, and I always want to start off, we talk about high profile cases and how it affects families. There's been a couple of cases that were very disturbing. For example, we did have a 8-year-old girl who was tragically murdered by her own brother, her 20-year-old brother. Unfortunately, this crime happened. It happened at 12 North Apartments. Southfield police officers did respond. Certainly, as I always describe, anytime we deal with our youth or our children being subjected to this heinous violence, it is stressful for us as an organization just dealing with that. But our police officers remain professional. They were able to at least try to get the 8-year-old the medical care that she needed by immediately getting her to the awaiting paramedic. The paramedics did what they could, but ultimately she did succumb to her injuries. Southfield detectives worked this case very diligently. Her brother, the suspect, did attempt to deceive police officers by conjuring up a story that the home was in the process of being burglarized or robbed. And then in the course of the robbery, the child was shot. We were able to prove that that did not happen. They worked this case very thoroughly. They were able to recover the weapon used and were able to interview witnesses who saw some of his actions. So again, another tragic situation, but I do commend the Southfield police officers for their quick response and thorough investigation.
Wow. Always a sad turn of events. Are there any instances or issues that are unique to strip malls in the area?
So strip malls are one of the areas where we pay high volume of attention to. Because again, at our strip malls, there's food, there may be some entertainment activities, there may be just shopping, there's stores, so a wide variety of businesses in our strip malls, which brings a lot of activity. And so it's important for us to monitor those areas, pay attention to what's going on, provide a police presence. Because in some strip malls, there are ATM machines. And so we are always mindful to have a visible police presence. That way the citizens are comfortable and a deterrent for those who may have ideas of criminality.
Chief, what would you suggest as the best method overall for a senior in Southfield remaining safe?
When it comes to safety of our seniors, we got to understand nationally, seniors have been and continue to be victims of crimes. Whether it's crimes that occur over the phone. We live in a COVID era. So a lot of the crimes that are coming up on the phone are, for example, you can get your COVID shot. Give me a few dollars and I'll arrange it. These are all scams. And so for our seniors, just be careful for internet scams, phone scams, individuals who may appear to be service workers. For example, there's individuals who may pose themselves as DTE workers. I had a citizen call me last week. There was individuals who were actually workers of a local utility company, but they didn't have their van marked and they were not carrying their identification. So Southfield police officers did respond. We did verify that they were, but I commend that resident who saw something that was unusual, that didn't fit the pattern of what should have been the proper way of a utility worker to conduct their business, allowed Southfield police officers to come in, conduct an investigation to ensure that the community was safe. So I applaud her for that 911 phone call. Most important thing for a community to understand about helping law enforcement is that we're a partnership. The police department cannot, and I'm going to repeat this, cannot do our job without the assistance of the community. The community is our eyes and ears. And let's talk about Southfield community. I've been here a year and a half. And one thing I applaud Southfield residents for is their involvement in their neighborhoods. Because when it comes to sharing video, for example, that's happened. When it comes to being witnesses for crimes that have occurred, they're doing that. And so when you get the community who does not stand for criminality in their city, it makes a difference because the criminal element knows that as well. And it's another deterrent. And so continue to be the involved community that you are. This police chief, this police department appreciates you. And we're going to continue our partnership in our community efforts.
Chief Barren, I'd like to thank you for your time today, your candor,
Sir.
and your suggestions as always. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks for watching this edition of Spotlight on Seniors. To see more, Look us up on the web and Facebook at Southfield Multimedia Services. Have a great day.